As Duke Esteban exited the flower shop, the florist thanked him politely. The roses were fresher this time. He was sure she would appreciate them more than the previous bouquet. Just then, Elise approached, escorted by her handmaiden, Marsa. "Oh, Mxss. I don't think we've met here before," she said, her tone light but pointed. Nearby, a few ladies whispered among themselves. "Look, it's the Duke and Duchess." "They look like a perfect match," someone murmured. Evan stepped forward. "Master, the carriage is ready," he informed Mxss. "Get me some digestive medicine while you're at it," the Duke replied without meeting anyone's gaze. Breakfast didn't sit well. Elise's eyes flicked to the bouquet. "May I ask who the flowers are for?" "We're leaving," the Duke said curtly, and stepped into the carriage. Whispers trailed behind him. "He just left? That was cold. Isn't she his wife? Rumor is, he's still hung up on a mistress." Elise watched the carriage disappear. A faint smile curved her lips. "He's wasting his time," she thought. "Buying flowers for someone who's falling apart." Meanwhile, at the tea party, Sally sat quietly, her gaze drifting to Marchioness Roxanne. Memories of her past life surfaced, how Roxanne had always treated these social events like her own estate, while Sally had been treated like an outsider. Back then, Roxanne had never insulted her in front of Duke Esteban, but when she was alone, the abuse was relentless, calling her lowly, dirty, or unworthy. Over time, the mistreatment led to her being excluded entirely. Roxanne's crisp voice rang out, "Now that introductions are over, let's begin." Marchioness, Miss Sally hasn't introduced herself," Amy began, but Sally gently held her hand. "I'm all right. But Lady Amy," Sally said softly, "I think you should refrain from speaking to me from now on." Amy blinked. "But why?" "Please, just do as I say," Sally whispered. Amy hesitated, then reluctantly nodded. Sally suspected Roxanne was only at this modest gathering because of Elise's involvement. Trying to steer the atmosphere, Roxanne clapped lightly. "Now then, let's share your favorite teas." One by one, the women responded. Lipton's black tea. Chamomile from Bordeaux. Earl Grey from Dahlia. Hastings flower tea with honey. With a knowing smile, Roxanne cut in just as Sally was about to speak. "You're all very refined. I'm curious what you think of this one." She motioned to her butler. "I prepared it specially. It's a black tea from Malaysia I've come to enjoy, floral and rich." The maids began pouring the tea. Amy glanced uncertainly at Sally. "Miss Sally." Sally nodded gently, staying composed. She could tell Roxanne's aim was clear, to single her out. Roxanne, watching from across the table, sipped her tea with a smirk. As one maid approached Sally's seat with a teapot, Roxanne abruptly set her own cup down with a sharp clink. "You there. What do you think you're doing?" The maid froze. "Pardon? Why would you waste a gift like this by serving someone who wasn't even on the list?" "There's one more guest," the maid replied, startled. Roxanne's eyes narrowed. "Please excuse me," the maid whispered before retreating. Sally remained composed, though her cheeks flushed. "If this keeps up, I'll be ignored entirely. But I need to stay calm. There's always a way out." Roxanne smiled faintly and turned to Lady Grace. "You look pale. Is something wrong?" Grace offered a forced smile. "It's nothing." Roxanne muttered just loud enough, "Such weak spirit. No wonder she surrounds herself with commoners." Then her gaze landed on a small item beside Grace. "What's this?" "A gift," Grace replied. "Would you like to try it?" Roxanne picked it up and inspected the bottle. "Oil from Barishaw? Soft texture. Who gave you this?" Grace hesitated. "Lady Grace." Roxanne pressed. "It was Sally," Grace admitted. Roxanne's lips curled. "Ah. That explains the scent. You should throw it away." And with a flick, she poured out the contents. "Using something when you don't know where it came from? It could ruin your skin. You know how filthy that part of town is, just like the people from there." Sally's hands clenched in her lap. She looked down, steadying herself. "Stay calm. Don't give her the reaction she wants." Roxanne turned back to Grace. "And let me give you some advice. Spend too much time with someone like that, and you'll end up reeking just like her." Humiliated, Grace nodded faintly. "Thank you for your advice, Marchioness. Sally took a quiet breath, her thoughts swirling. I should leave. This isn't worth it. But I can't embarrass Grace, who invited me. She began to rise. Please excuse me, I've just remembered. You should apologize, a voice cut through the room. Everyone turned. Roxanne stared, unamused, as the attention shifted to Amy. Sally looked up, stunned. Lady Amy? Amy didn't look away. You should apologize for what you just said. What did you just say? Roxanne's voice cut through the room like a knife. Amy met her eyes, shoulders tense but steady. I said, apologize. For what you said about Miss Sally. For dismissing her gift, and treating it like it didn't matter. Even if you're a Marchioness, that was wrong. A few gasps slipped out from the watching ladies. Amy's voice shook a little. I know I'm not strong, and I'm scared. But, that doesn't make what you did right. Roxanne raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. You're the youngest daughter of the Lawrence family, aren't you? I've heard interesting things. She paused, letting the moment linger. You're 24 and still unmarried, aren't you? I assumed you were waiting for your older sisters. But now I see, you're just foolish. Her lips curled into a tight, cruel smile. A viscount's daughter telling me what to do? How laughable. Amy faltered. I didn't mean it that way, I just... And those ribbons in your hair. Roxanne's voice turned sharp. I thought they were childish. Now I'm certain, you've never grown up. Amy's face crumpled. Why is she being so cruel? She whispered. Roxanne sighed, dramatically setting her teacup down. A proper noblewoman wouldn't cry over this. Didn't your family teach you anything? A few restrained chuckles followed, tightening Amy's grip on her dress. Then Sally stood. She walked over and gently dabbed at Amy's tears with a handkerchief. Lady Amy, don't cry. Amy tried to smile, her voice soft. Miss Sally, I'm sorry I couldn't stand up for you better. But Sally's expression had hardened. She turned, stepping calmly toward Roxanne. What now? Roxanne asked, leaning back as if expecting Sally to retreat. Don't tell me you're planning to threaten me. You don't even have a title. Sally smiled, quiet and steady. Of course not. I just thought I'd lighten the mood. Perhaps with a story. Roxanne scoffed. Why would I care? It's about Emperor Philip III, Sally said, cutting across her. The room stilled. Philip III, someone whispered. Unbothered, Sally went on. He was a brilliant general. Ruthless, victorious, unshaken. But there was one person who could tame him. Her voice softened. His mistress, Simona. Even Roxanne blinked. One day, Simona told him, Your Majesty, I'm tired of sharing my name with others. Just like that, Philip outlawed the name across the empire. And those who refused. She paused, eyes calm. They were gone within a month. Roxanne stood suddenly, her chair scraping the floor. Are you threatening me? Sally's voice remained even. Of course not. I wouldn't dream of it. She stepped back slightly. I'm just Duke Esteban's mistress, after all. A murmur swept through the guests. Sally turned her gaze to Roxanne. I know you don't like me. You've made that very clear. Her tone gentled. So I think it's best I leave. She faced the hostess. Lady Grace, forgive me for leaving early. Lady Grace, pale, gave a small nod. Of course. Be safe, Sally. She turned to Amy. You can go too, dear. Amy nodded, eyes still wet, and followed Sally out. Roxanne's fingers curled into a fist. Unbelievable, she muttered. Was I actually rattled by her? She shook her head. She's nothing without the Duke. No status, no name, nothing. That evening, Duke Esteban returned with a large bouquet in hand. Isn't it too much? Evan asked, glancing at it. Esteban frowned at the bouquet. Now that I look again. Maybe. Still, he dismissed the doubt. It's fine. I just want her to think I bought it without overthinking. He stepped into Sally's room. Sally? Are you here? No reply. Sally. The room was empty. On the table, a single envelope. An invitation. Cancelled. Politely phrased, but unmistakable. She had been uninvited. His chest tightened. He bolted out of the manor. Where could she have gone? He muttered, scanning the grounds. Calm down. Get Evan. Get help. We'll find her. Then he heard her voice. Following it, he saw her sitting in the garden, gently petting a small kitten. Where did you come from? She asked it softly, cradling it in her arms. The kitten purred. Sally laughed, her breath finally steady. Esteban froze, watching her from a few steps away. She's okay. He let out a breath. Aha. That tickles, Sally giggled as the kitten brushed her cheek. Esteban smiled faintly. I should be relieved, he thought. But why, do I still feel uneasy? His hand brushed his chest. His face grew warm. The cat gently licked Sally's hand. Oh, thank you, she whispered, as if replying to the kitten. Are you comforting me? Do you also think things will get better if I just wait, like Lady Amy said? Her thoughts drifted to Amy, kind, steadfast Amy, who had stood up for her in front of the noble crowd. A pang of guilt crept in. Lady Amy. I'm sorry, she murmured, recalling their conversation outside Lady Grace's house. You went through so much because of me, she had said. No, it's all right. If you wait, I'm sure the situation will get better, Amy had replied, smiling gently as she held Sally's hands. Sally smiled faintly, rubbing the kitten's cheek with her thumb. Will it really? She wondered. But there was comfort in thinking of Amy. I wasn't so lonely with her around. I should thank her properly next time. Just then, the kitten suddenly perked up and darted off. Wait. Sally called out, tense, watching it disappear into the shadows. Footsteps followed. From behind her, Duke Esteban stepped into view, slipping his coat over her shoulders. The wind's cold. How long have you been out here? He asked. Startled, Sally blinked and turned to look at him. Her. A nighttime walk isn't bad, he said, his tone unreadable. But next time, let me know first. Caught off guard, Sally fumbled for words. Sorry. I didn't expect you to come looking for me, Your Grace. She studied his face, uncertain. Was he afraid I'd run away? That I'd break the contract? The Duke shrugged lightly. Unexpected. Sure. But you don't look too worse for wear. He glanced at her again. I noticed the wine in your room. Were you troubled by something? Sally paused. What difference would it make if I told him? She kept her voice neutral. No, not really. I just finished off what was left. I need to protect myself, she reminded herself. Telling him would only complicate things. I'll let you finish your walk, she added, turning to leave, but her foot caught on the hem of her dress. Damn it. I'm going to fall. In a swift motion, the Duke reached out and caught her before she hit the ground. I think you've had a bit too much, he said quietly, steadying her. The warmth of his arms, the subtle scent of roses on his coat, it all felt unexpectedly intimate. Maybe it was the wine or the cold night air, but she held on to him as though she might fall apart if she let go. Their eyes met, their faces close. Then, meow. The sound snapped her back. Why, Your Grace, thank you for catching me, Sally whispered. You can let me go now. He hesitated, then gently stepped back. All right, he murmured, his voice a little strained. That was close, he thought, cheeks tinged pink. Good night. Good night, Sally replied, taking a small step away. Sally, he called softly. She turned. Yes. Are you really all right? She stood straighter and gave him a small smile. Of course. I'm Duke Esteban's mistress, aren't I? She walked away, leaving him behind. His expression shifted, clouded by something unspoken. My mistress? He thought. His mind returned to an earlier conversation with Evan in the study. Master, there's a rumor, Evan had said. A rumor? The Duke asked. About Miss Sally. That she's a fearsome mistress. That she uses your favor as a shield, and if anyone offends her, the Esteban family will destroy them. The Duke gave a dry laugh. Ha! Will I? He crossed his arms, amused. She's taking a bolder stance than I expected. What should I do, Master? Evan asked. Nothing. Let it spread. Better to be feared than forgotten. Then his voice turned cold. Remind me, the woman who harassed Sally, her name. Marchioness Roxanne Hestia, Evan replied. Back in the garden, the Duke held out his palm to the night air. Hestia, he repeated thoughtfully. His fingers curled into a fist. I'm sure the Hestia family is tied to some business. Elsewhere, Sally stood alone in her room. A faint dizziness still clung to her. That was close. Did I really get tipsy from just that? I almost made a mistake I wouldn't normally make. She rubbed her temples. Why didn't he pull away? Did he miss the moment? I should stop drinking wine, she muttered. Then, something caught her eye. A bouquet of roses. This is, she breathed, fingertips brushing the petals. But who? They looked just like the bouquet from her past life. Exactly the same. The one that had comforted her then. Her eyes flicked to the older bouquet from the Duke, now dried and framed on her wall. It can't be. The next morning, Daisy burst into her room, barely remembering to shut the door softly behind her. Miss Sally. Sally looked up. What is it? There's an invitation for you. Daisy beamed. An invitation? From who? Daisy grinned, winking. Lady Amy. Lady Amy. Sally echoed. But, she never hosts tea parties. Said the invites were too much trouble. She took the envelope, curious. Is she hosting one because of me? Her eyes fell on the name printed on the card. Josephine Wales. Her breath caught. Josephine Wales, the Lawrence family's eldest daughter. Marquis Wales's wife, the diplomat in Alls. She remembered Amy's words again. Things will get better if you just wait a little. Sally stared quietly at the card, her thoughts spinning. The atmosphere at the lavish party was undeniably tense. Sally felt the subtle weight of lingering stares, curious, uncertain, and hesitant, as she stepped into the garden. They're still not comfortable with me, she thought, doing her best to maintain a calm expression. A ripple of whispers stirred among the guests. Ah! Look! His Grace, Esteban, is here too. Oh my! Someone murmured. Did you have to come? Sally asked quietly, tilting her head slightly toward him as they walked. Esteban looked unbothered. Didn't have much of a choice, did I? He replied smoothly. I'm attending with my mistress. And besides, the Duchy of Alls brings in a fortune from its diamond mines. It's a goose laying golden eggs for its business partners. Sally caught the faint glint of amusement in his eyes. He sounds far too pleased for someone who supposedly came unwillingly, she thought, holding back a smile. Marquis Wales stepped forward, arm in arm with Josephine. His warm voice carried easily through the garden. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming on such short notice, he said. We've always regretted not having enough time to spend with everyone due to our travels. Let's enjoy what little time we have together. Then, turning toward the men, he added, Gentlemen, shall we move to the reception hall? Let the ladies enjoy their own company. That sounds good, Marquis, someone responded. Do join us, Your Grace, the Marquis said, nodding toward Esteban. So he really does have business to attend to, Sally mused. Esteban leaned close to her. Act confident. Don't be scared, he said in a low voice. What? Sally blinked, confused, as he turned to follow the Marquis. Nearby, Amy had already spotted her sister and hurried over. Josephine, she called brightly. Amy, Lady Josephine chided gently, a noble lady should always maintain her poise. I only waved because I'm short. You might not have seen me, Amy replied with a grin. Josephine's gaze shifted to Sally. Welcome, Miss Sally. Amy quickly stepped in. Josephine, this is Miss Sally. Sally, this is my eldest sister. Marchioness Josephine Wales, Sally recalled her reputation. Making a place for herself in Alcyon society must have been difficult, even with her title. Sally bowed respectfully. Thank you for the invitation, Marchioness Wales. I'm Sally. It must have been exhausting after your travels, yet you still hosted such a lovely gathering. It's lovely to meet you, Sally, Josephine said warmly. Amy has spoken highly of you. Thank you for looking after her, despite her enthusiasm. Sally blinked in surprise. High praise. I thought she might distance Amy from me after everything. Josephine continued, I've heard you're quite charming. I can see it now. I hope your friendship with Amy lasts. Sally smiled, genuinely relieved. Thank you. I hope so too. Just then, a voice called out behind them. "Oh, Marchioness, there you are. Apologies for the delay, I had to accompany my wife." Sally turned. "Roxanne? And Marquis Hestia too?" Josephine's tone cooled slightly. "I thought you couldn't come." "It's been a while. I thought I'd make an appearance," Roxanne replied. "May I ask where Marquis Wales is?" "With the gentleman in the reception hall," Josephine answered. "I see. Then excuse me." Marquis Hestia turned to a nearby butler. "Show me to the reception hall. Quickly." Left in the garden, Roxanne offered a courteous smile. "It's been some time, Lady Josephine." Back in the reception hall, Duke Esteban's gaze lingered outside the window, his attention clearly elsewhere as the nobles around him continued their business discussion. Marquis Wales noticed the distraction. "Your Grace? Is something the matter?" he asked. "It's nothing," Esteban replied. "Just lost in thought." "He must be thinking about that woman he left behind at the party," someone quietly speculated. So the rumors were true. Marquis Wales thought, glancing at the Duke with mild surprise. Left on her own like that, can she manage? Just then, Marquis Hestia entered, dabbing his face with a handkerchief. "Marquis Wales," he greeted with a polite nod. "Pleasure to see you." His eyes then landed on Duke Esteban. "Ah, Your Grace. I didn't realize you were here as well." "Marquis Hestia," Esteban said, his voice firm. "Did you come with your wife?" Hestia looked slightly puzzled. "Pardon? I did, but—" "Excuse me," Esteban cut in, stepping past him. "Please, carry on. I won't be staying." "I need to see her," he thought as he made his way out. In the garden, the atmosphere remained composed. "It's been a while, Lady Josephine," Roxanne said, her voice even. "I heard there was some unfortunate business at Lady Grace's tea party recently," Josephine replied with a pleasant tone, though her words carried an edge. Roxanne's eyes narrowed slightly. "How bold of her," she muttered, snapping her fan shut. "Yes, a commoner turned up and disrupted the gathering. It spoiled the atmosphere." She threw a pointed glance at Sally. "Is that so?" Josephine replied evenly. "That's not the version I heard. I was told it was a Marchioness who arrived without a proper invitation. Quite the bold move, like the nobles of old, who forced their way into circles they didn't belong to." Roxanne narrowed her eyes. "You're blaming the wrong person, Lady Josephine. The real problem is the woman who manipulates others through affection." Sally flinched. "Act confident. Don't be scared," Esteban's voice echoed in her mind. She took a breath. "Lady Roxanne, if you have something to say to me, please speak to me directly." Roxanne turned sharply. "Oh my. How improper of a mistress to interrupt. This is why a lack of education is a problem. And Lady Josephine," she added, "I know you're trying to shame me for what happened with Amy, but—" Josephine's voice turned cold. "Marchioness Roxanne Hestia, mind your manners toward my guest. I wasn't even going to mention Amy, but since you brought it up so confidently, I wonder, do you see the Lawrence family as easy targets?" Behind her, her sisters quietly stepped into view, standing by her side. "When did they get here?" Roxanne blinked, realizing the growing attention. Josephine spoke clearly, her words firm. "Social gatherings are not for displaying power, but for fostering respectful conversation. They're for building connections, not asserting control." Roxanne clenched her fists, recalling her husband's warning, "Don't offend Josephine. We need her goodwill for future business." Damn Josephine. If not for him, I'd. A sudden round of applause startled the group. Duke Esteban had returned, now standing beside Sally, calm and composed. "When did he?" Sally blinked. Others followed his lead and clapped as well. Roxanne's gaze swept the crowd. "Even Esteban is here," she thought bitterly. "If only Elise or Her Highness Rachel were here to support me." She turned away without another word. Sally watched her leave. "Lady Roxanne," she said quietly, "I think you'll come to realize, no one was ever on your side." She took a deep breath, Esteban's presence beside her steadying her nerves. "I was worried for nothing. This is a good ending." The evening had settled into a quiet calm, casting a soothing atmosphere over the party's end. As the guests departed, they shared warm farewells. "I had a great time. It was nice seeing you again after so long, one guest said sincerely. Sally stood beside Duke Esteban, who hesitated slightly before turning to her. Sally, we should head back, he said. She nodded, sensing a shift in his tone. Yes, Your Grace. As they walked toward the carriage, Esteban glanced at her. There was a distant look in her eyes. She doesn't look happy. Is something bothering her? He wondered. Suddenly, a voice called out. Your Grace. I'm glad you haven't left yet. Could we finish our conversation about that business matter? Marquis Whale approached with a polite urgency. Esteban was about to reply when Sally excused herself and walked over to Josephine, who stood nearby. Miss Sally, Josephine said gently, may we talk? There's something I'd like to say. Sally blinked in surprise. To me? Soon, the two women were seated in a quiet room, a pot of tea between them. Josephine's expression softened, her voice calm. Amy told me everything. Did you really stand up to Roxanne Hestia using Duke Esteban's influence? Sally flinched slightly, unsure how to respond. It couldn't have been easy, Josephine continued. But you handled it well. Sally gave a small, reserved smile. Thank you, Lady Josephine. Josephine's tone turned thoughtful. You probably know this already, but the Empire's noble society is rooted in a rigid structure. The circle led by Duchess Esteban and Her Highness Rachel holds significant sway. True interaction is difficult in a society so divided. Sally listened closely. Though she'd long felt out of place among the nobility, Josephine's words gave voice to feelings she hadn't fully acknowledged. When a group becomes too insular, they lose perspective, Josephine said. Eventually, that leads to stagnation. That's why I support you. Me. Sally repeated, startled. But I'm just a mistress. Josephine offered a faint smile. I have a good sense of people. You bring something different, a presence that draws others in. You may not see it yet, but it's there. Sally looked down at her teacup, conflicted. Thank you, though I'm not sure I deserve it. No matter how flawed high society is, people are still people. They'll be drawn to someone genuine, Josephine said. And you, Sally, are more powerful than you realize. As their carriage left Lawrence Manor, Sally reflected on Josephine's words. A presence that draws others in. Her thoughts wandered back to her previous life. Back then, I was desperate to be on equal footing with Elise. I thought entering high society was the answer. But was I ever honest with those I met? No. I judged people based on how useful they were. I never really saw them. A small smile touched her lips. I think I understand now. It's not about status, it's about people. Unnoticed, Duke Esteban observed her from a distance. I don't know what Josephine said to her, but she looks more at ease now. That's enough. A few days later, Daisy walked into Sally's room, holding an envelope. Miss Sally, she greeted with a bright smile. You've been receiving invitations again, just like before. Sally smiled as she entered Lady Grace's estate one afternoon. Thank you for inviting me, Lady Grace. It's been a while, she said warmly. Sally, I'm so glad you came, Grace replied. Her expression turned more serious. I was worried you wouldn't want to attend again after everything that happened. Sally gently held her hand. It wasn't your fault, Lady Grace. But, are you sure it's all right to invite me? What if Lady Roxanne causes trouble? Grace let out a small laugh. I don't think she'll have time for that. Apparently, her family's businesses are facing stiff competition. New partners have taken over much of what they used to control. Sally blinked. What? How did that happen? My husband says the Hestia family's profits have dropped to less than half. He's been busy with the new partnerships himself. Sally looked uneasy. Could it be? That night, she walked the halls of Esteban Manor, lost in thought. I thought His Grace intervened. But did he really? She made her way to his study. Your Grace, she said, entering with a tense expression. Esteban looked up from his book. Sally. I heard you've been investing in businesses that directly compete with Marquis Hestia's, including those tied to Count Grace's family, she said. He nodded. That's right. Why does he sound so casual? Sally thought, frustrated. She stepped forward, resting her hands on his desk. Your Grace, people might misunderstand. They could think you're targeting the Marquis for my sake. It could damage your reputation. Esteban's expression turned serious. I see. But why didn't you use my name to strengthen your position? Wouldn't that help with Elisie's divorce? The Esteban name alone would bring you respect. Sally frowned. Because I want people to talk to me, not the name behind me. I don't want empty conversations based on status. Esteban studied her. She really means it. Wasn't this all for the sake of my divorce? She looked away. Was I too harsh? There's no need to oppose Elisie publicly, he said quietly. According to Evan, people already believe we're a real couple. What? Sally asked, confused. Even Evan was surprised. People say that just seeing us together is enough for Elisie to act. Maybe this is the easiest way to get what we want. He touched her chin gently. And honestly, I don't mind playing the part. Sally's heart jumped. She pulled away, her voice steady. Please don't do that again. It puts me in an awkward position. Esteban's gaze narrowed. Why are you so worried about how others see me? Because destroying people's livelihoods over a personal grudge will make you look ruthless. He considered her words. Even if it's for fighting Elisie. Your Grace, she said, exasperated. He smirked. That look on her face is worth all the sleepless nights reviewing proposals. Sally sighed. Even if your motives are good, if people start whispering, it won't help. We should shift the attention. You have a plan? He asked, arms crossed. Sally paused at the door. Yes. The kind of rumor gossipers love to talk about. That night, two maids passed through the corridor with linens in hand. As they neared the Duchess's chambers, they slowed. Did you hear? Yesterday, our master, one whispered. Sure. The other hushed her quickly. This is the Duchess's room. She might be asleep, don't wake her. Inside the chamber, Elisie brought her cane down hard against Marsa's back. She acted like she could solve everything, Elisie said coldly, swirling the wine in her glass. But she was brought down by a mere Viscount family. Of course she was. The Marchioness never had the nerve to protect what was hers. With a calm expression, Elisie raised her whip. And that other girl. Does she think making a friend makes her a noble now? She's still just a rat from the gutter. The whip landed again. Marsa flinched but remained silent. Marsa? Elisie said, casting her a glance. Don't you agree? There was no reply. Elisie leaned back, her expression darkening. This won't do. She needs to be dealt with, more harshly this time. Meanwhile, tucked in a quiet corner of the capital, a small but elegant dessert shop buzzed with soft chatter. At one table, two noblewomen whispered behind their fans. Isn't that Duke Esteban's mistress? One said, trying to contain her excitement. The other leaned forward slightly. No way. Why would the Duke come to a place like this? But a glance confirmed her suspicion. Wait, that really is him. And she's with him. There's no reason for him to be here unless it's because of her, the first said. And honestly, even as a woman, I have to admit, she's quite captivating. At their table, Sally sat across from Duke Esteban, smiling softly. The mood between them felt unexpectedly warm, even familiar. You were right, one of the noblewomen whispered. They look like a real couple. I heard the Marchioness has gone silent lately. They say it's because of her. Really? Because of her? Yes, and apparently His Grace did something drastic for her. Scary, but somehow satisfying. Lady Hestia was always so temperamental. Sure. Don't say that too loudly. Still, the murmurs didn't stop. Duke Esteban studied Sally with a curious look. What an odd woman, he thought. When she said we'd act like a couple, I didn't expect her to bring me here. But you said it yourself, Sally said with a light smile. People believe our act. The Duke exhaled, resting his arms on the table. It's not like I can undo my words now. A waiter approached and set down a tray. Your cakes, madam. Esteban blinked. All of these are desserts. Sally giggled. Sorry. He leaned back, eyeing the tray suspiciously. Sally, I came because you called this a date. But this looks more like an assassination attempt. Assassination? Yes, he said, deadpan. Excessive sugar consumption weakens the immune system, causes bloating, and accelerates aging. Sally stifled a laugh and gently fed him a spoonful. He blinked. I don't taste the sweetness. It's milk and almond. No added sugar. What do you think? He took another bite, thoughtful. I assumed it was just sugar, but this is good. She beamed. Choy de Reina is the best in the empire. Esteban glanced at her. She was simply enjoying cake, yet something about her expression felt strangely comforting. Then she spotted someone familiar nearby. That ribbon. Lady Amy. Amy stiffened and lowered her gaze. Sorry. I thought it best not to interrupt. Not at all, Sally said warmly. Please, join us. Thank you, Miss Sally. And greetings, Your Grace. I'm Amy of Viscount Lawrence's household. Pleased to meet you, Esteban said politely. I'll leave you two to enjoy the desserts, he said, rising. Wait, Your Grace. Sally got up and gently brushed a crumb from his cheek. The women nearby stared, faces turning red. We can't have crumbs on your face, can we? She said teasingly. Esteban chuckled, brushing her hand away gently. You've done worse. This is nothing. Worse. Amy gasped under her breath. I'll see you tonight, he told Sally before heading out. Sally turned back to see all eyes on her. Amy was wide-eyed. Oh my goodness. Did I just see that? Sorry, Lady Amy. I got distracted. No, not at all, Amy said quickly. She's so pretty. No wonder the Duke smiled like that. I ordered more cake. Shall we continue? Yes. Of course. In the carriage, Esteban looked out the window, pensive. Where to, master? Asked his coachman. To the manor. Will Miss Sally be joining? Esteban hesitated, then looked away. No. Let's go. As the carriage rolled forward, he touched his cheek where Sally had brushed him. I thought she was going to kiss me. Days later, in a coffee shop, Daisy overheard a group of noblewomen chatting. Did you hear? Duke Esteban visited Choy de Reina, with her. They say she's so stunning, it's no surprise he fell for her. I saw her from afar once. She's beautiful, another agreed. Daisy smiled faintly. Our Miss Sally really is lovely. But then the conversation darkened. I heard something else, one whispered. Oh? What? She used to be a dancer's maid. That's old news. Let me finish. They say, she was with many men back then. Daisy's expression froze. What? Daisy looked stunned as the hushed voices continued around her. Apparently, one woman said sharply, she slept with countless men when she worked as a maid. The lady said so herself. Miss Sally did? No, that's ridiculous, Daisy muttered to herself, glancing toward the woman who had started the rumor. The lady wore a self-satisfied smirk. She's well known for the number of men she's been with, the woman added, her tone laced with spite. Is that true? Or is it just gossip? Another asked, brows furrowed. The whispers grew louder, feeding off each other. Have you seen the way she dresses? She shows off her body on purpose, that's why the men chase her, someone added. I heard the dresses were from Camora's atelier, another chimed in. That name alone adds prestige. But Camora never designed such revealing clothes before. She must have requested them that way, the woman insisted. Daisy clenched her fists, unable to listen any longer. She stood abruptly and left the shop. I need to tell Miss Sally what's going on, she thought, heart pounding. In the distance, hidden beneath a cloak, Marcia watched her leave, a faint smile on her face. That afternoon, the coachman announced their arrival. Sally stepped out, taking in the familiar scenery. I'm getting used to this place, she thought. I was nervous when Lady Amy first asked for my help. She entered the manor with quiet determination. Lady Amy, I'm here, she called softly as she stepped into the drawing room. She stopped in her tracks. Amy stood by the window, her eyes red and face trembling. Miss Sally. What happened? Is everything all right? Sally asked, walking toward her. Amy burst into tears, burying her face in the pillow she clutched. Miss Sally, do you think Lord Alex would have treated me differently if I were half as attractive as you? What? What do you mean? Who's Lord My fiancé. His Count Aprimo's youngest son, Amy answered, sniffling. Your fiancé? Sally echoed, surprised. Once Amy had calmed down, Sally handed her a handkerchief. Feeling a little better? Amy nodded. Yes. Thank you. Then tell me, what's Lord Alex like? He's very kind, Amy began, smiling through her tears. Most men don't really listen when women speak, but he always does. We've been engaged for 5 years, and he still treats me with care. She looked down, blushing. We finally had a moment alone. We held hands, and I thought, maybe we'd kiss. Sally listened as Amy described the moment. She had turned toward Alex, closed her eyes, her heart pounding, lips slightly parted. Just then, Alex had awkwardly pushed a macaron into her mouth. Please try this. The macarons are really good, he had blurted, cheeks pink. Amy had frozen in shock. Alex had quickly stood up, muttered something about needing to leave, and dashed off. Sally blinked as Amy started crying again. He's so nice to me. But we haven't even kissed yet. Can you believe that? Lady Amy, do you want to be more affectionate with him? Sally asked gently. Amy's crying paused. Yes. If possible. I'd like to move to the next stage, she admitted, her cheeks flushed. Do you think I'm too forward? Sally smiled. Not at all. That's not lust. It's love. Really? Of course. Thank you. You're so kind, Miss Sally, Amy said, raising her teacup. Sally nodded, thinking. Lord Alex seems almost too cautious. After 5 years, they should be growing even closer. Lady Amy, she said, maybe instead of waiting, you could try making the first move. Amy looked stunned, then slowly nodded. I'll try what you said, Miss Sally. I'll pull it off. Sally smiled as she rode home that evening. As expected of Lady Amy. Who could ignore such a sweet fiancé? Amy's words echoed in her mind. When I'm with him, my heart races. I see his broad shoulders and strong build and just want to be held. Sally's gaze softened. I used to feel that way, too. When I first met Mxss. I liked him so much. I wanted to be close to him. She lowered her eyes. But it was all in vain. As the carriage arrived at the manor gates, Sally was surprised to see a crowd of servants gathered. What's going on? She asked as she stepped down. The Duchess is here, someone whispered. Duchess Elise appeared, graceful as ever. Oh. It's been a while, she said, her tone cool. Strange that we live in the same house yet rarely meet. People might laugh at that. I greet your grace, Sally said, curtsying. Have you been well? I suppose I should say I'm glad we're meeting now, Elise replied, smiling faintly. Sally returned the smile politely. She's been avoiding me since her birthday party, she thought. Probably because she finds me bothersome. I heard you're receiving more invitations lately, Elise noted. It's nothing compared to yours, Your Grace, Sally said modestly. Don't belittle yourself. I worried your background might make other noblewomen harsh, but I'm glad they're welcoming you. Yes. Many have treated me kindly. I hope to build even more friendships. Sally stood tall. I might have been deceived by her smile before, but not anymore. An admirable goal, Elise replied. But beauty alone won't get you far in high society. Some wear friendly masks. Be prepared when they fall. Come to me if you need help. It's all right, Sally said calmly. I'm not alone. But thank you for the offer. I suppose I worried for nothing, Elise said, her smile tightening as she walked past. I do wonder how he'd react to someone who used her own body so carelessly, she murmured as she passed. Sally's eyes narrowed. What is she talking about? I must be off for an appointment, Elise announced, leaving with her maids. She's up to something. But I won't let her trample me again. I see her clearly now, Sally thought. Behind her, Elise's smile lingered. Let's see how far the rumors have spread. This will be fun. At the training grounds, Evan spoke to Duke Esteban during his practice. Say that again. What rumor? Mxss asked, pausing mid-swing. Miss Sally. They say she offered herself to many men when she was a maid. Repeatedly. And that she seduced you the same way. Mxss froze, then clenched his jaw. How absurd, he said tightly. It's childish. I agree, Evan nodded. I assumed you already knew it was false. It's obvious, Mxss said, sheathing his sword. She wasn't interested in me when she arrived. If she were, I'd have noticed long ago. He paused, pressing a hand to his head. What am I even thinking? I'm done for today. Let's return to the manor. Yes, Your Grace. As they left the grounds, Mxss's expression darkened. There's only one person who'd spread such filth. Elise, he muttered. You're the disgraceful one. Duke Esteban returned to his manor, his temper simmering as he strode through the hallway with Evan close behind. Where is that woman? He asked, his voice low. She's in the garden with her servants, Evan replied. What a show, Mxss thought, irritation growing. Your Grace, a familiar voice called. He paused and turned to see Sally approaching. Sally? You're back from your outing? He asked, softening his tone. Yes, I just returned, she answered quietly, briefly glancing at Evan. But, where are you headed in such a hurry? She asked, concern in her eyes. He hesitated. He began, unsure how much to say. He recalled a conversation with Evan earlier that day. Does Sally know about the rumors? I don't think she does. I only just heard myself, Evan had said. It's better she doesn't know, Mxss had thought then. It's nothing you need to worry about, he said now. But something urgent has come up. I won't be able to have dinner with you tonight. An emergency? Sally asked. So, he's heard them too. Did you hear the rumors? She asked, watching his reaction. You already know? He asked, feigning surprise. Damn it. I hoped she wouldn't find out. Yes. Daisy told me. They're horrible lies. He sighed. Then I'll be direct. I know exactly where they started. I'm going to confront her. Oh, she said, surprised. They're baseless and absurd, he continued firmly. I won't let them spread further. You don't believe them? She asked softly. Of course not, he said. You look at me like I'm a rock. If any of those rumors were true, well, you'd have long. He stopped mid-sentence, and Evan quickly cleared his throat. Mxss folded his arms. Never mind. Just, don't let it upset you. I'll be back soon. Maybe pour yourself a glass of your favorite wine, but don't overdo it, he said as he stepped past her. Before he could go, Sally reached out and hugged him from behind. I was scared, she admitted, her voice trembling. Scared no one would believe me. That people would only see me as a dancer's servant. His heart beat faster. Thank you for trusting me, she whispered. Please, don't go. It's enough that you believe in me. You're thanking me for something so obvious. Mxss murmured, flustered. Sally, are you sure? About the rumors? I'm sure, she said firmly. If you insist, he replied, his voice gentle. That afternoon, Lady Amy sat in her chamber, waiting. Soon, Lord Alex stepped in. Lady Amy, he said, clearing his throat. It's Alex. You asked to speak with me. I did. Thank you for coming, she said, rising and then sitting on the edge of her bed. Would you sit beside me? He hesitated but obliged, taking a seat beside her. Lady Amy, what did you want to talk about? He asked. She looks different today. Amy avoided his eyes. Please just listen, she said, her voice low. Yes. Of course, he said. Why is she so pretty today? This feels dangerous. I should listen and leave. Amy remembered Sally's advice. Be honest, but not too serious. Be sweet. I want to kiss you, she whispered, lightly placing her hand on his. Her face flushed as their eyes met. Really? Alex froze, his own face reddening. Yes, she said again, voice shy. Also, no one else is home right now. They kissed. I knew it. He was waiting too, Amy thought. Miss Sally really gave the best advice. Thank you, Miss Sally. Meanwhile, rumors spread among the maids in Duke Esteban's manor. Unknown men, at night? More than once. They whispered, their eyes wide. In her room, Sally looked troubled. That's not true. The only night I've shared was with His Grace in my past life. But no one will believe that. A knock interrupted her thoughts. Miss Sally. It's Daisy. You have a letter. Sally took it hesitantly. From Clara Jones? Who's Clara? I don't recall anyone by that name from before. She opened it. Miss Sally, I spent such an amazing night with Alex, thanks to your advice. Thank you so much. Sally smiled faintly. She succeeded. That's nice. Also, I told a friend of mine about you. She may write to you soon. Please help her, too. Soon, Sally was invited to meet Lady Clara. Nice to meet you, Miss Sally. I'm Clara Jones, the woman said, welcoming her into her home. Nice to meet you too, Sally replied politely. I hope the sudden invitation wasn't too forward. Please, have a seat. Not at all. I heard you had something on your mind. Yes. Lady Amy spoke very highly of you. I was hoping you could help me too, Clara said, her expression nervous. What concerns you? Clara hesitated before speaking. Well, it's about my husband. Our intimate moments are uncomfortable, painful, even. He rushes everything. Sally blinked, surprised. It hurts. Yes, Clara admitted. From what I've read, it's supposed to be pleasant, thrilling. But I think it's just my inexperience. Should I keep enduring it? Will it get better? No. Absolutely not. That's not something you should just endure, Sally said firmly. This reminds me. She recalled her own moment with the Duke. In my case, when I was with His Grace, she paused, then refocused. Lady Clara, a woman's body needs time to prepare. It has to be gently opened, with light, patient touches, she said carefully. What do you mean? Clara asked, wide-eyed. To truly enjoy intimacy, there must be foreplay, Sally said gently. Clara's face flushed, but she listened intently. It makes a real difference. You should talk to your husband about this, Sally added, continuing the conversation with clarity and care. Clara nodded, her eyes shining with newfound hope. Lady Clara Jones sat nervously across from Sally, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment as she tried to absorb the advice she'd just been given. Wait. I understand, Clara stammered. But my husband doesn't know anything about this. So how should I? Sally offered a calm, reassuring smile. It's all right, Lady Clara. You can lead by example. Clara swallowed hard. Even if I stumble my way through. It will be fine, Sally nodded warmly. It's about expressing love and kindness, not perfection. Clara felt a flutter of nervous excitement. Amy, you really do have a fairy godmother for a friend. One who comes at night to help with matters of the heart, she thought. Later that evening, Colonel Jones walked through the hallway of his home, his mind distracted by a conversation he'd had with his subordinates. It had been 3 months since he'd first received some peculiar advice from them, advice he never thought he'd act on. He had been standing in the rough training grounds, surrounded by his fellow officers, when one of them had asked him to explain something. I have something to ask, Colonel Jones started hesitantly. What kind of men are you, in the bedroom? His officers had exchanged confused glances. What do you mean? One officer asked. Jones explained further, his voice low but curious. What are you like in the bedroom? One officer, with a proud grin, answered first. Sir, back in my prime, I was known as the Rhino. There wasn't a woman who could stay awake once I made my move. Another officer snorted. The Rhino. I've seen men like you gas out after a few minutes. Stamina is key. I'm the night horse, I don't stop until the sun rises. You liar, another officer laughed. I've seen you fall asleep during drills. Colonel Jones had stayed silent, his thoughts swirling. I can't let Clara know I had no experience with women. But now, I get it. Be vigorous. Never stop. That's the key. As he opened the door to their bedroom, he was surprised to find Clara already there, dressed in a soft, elegant gown. Oh, welcome back, she greeted, her voice gentle. Then, she paused and reached for his hand. Darling, let's take things slow tonight. Jones blinked, taken aback by her softness. Her touch felt unfamiliar yet electrifying. They kissed briefly, and Clara whispered, her voice shaky but sincere, I love you. I love you so much. And I'm sorry if I've caused you pain by using all the wrong methods. From now on, I'll do whatever you want, until you're satisfied. That night, Colonel Jones finally understood what it truly meant to please the woman he loved. The next morning, he gently kissed Clara's face as he prepared to leave for the military grounds. I'll be back soon, Clara, he whispered. I'll make sure those soldiers don't have the stamina to follow their own advice, he thought darkly, a small smile tugging at his lips. And from that day forward, the regiment's training became famously brutal, yet undeniably effective. Meanwhile, in her room, Elise idly played with a flower in a vase, admiring its beauty. "The flowers have bloomed beautifully," she remarked to herself. "They certainly elevate the mood." "You," came a harsh voice, and Elise turned to see Mxss standing in the doorway. "Oh? Why are you here?" she asked softly, raising an eyebrow. Mxss narrowed his gaze. "Sally said she was fine, but I'm not," he muttered under his breath. "You spread those rumors about her, didn't you?" Elise tilted her head. "Whatever are you talking about?" "Don't act innocent," he snapped. "I know you started it." Elise remained calm, her expression unfazed. "I understand why you're angry. But even if the rumors were true, wouldn't it be in the spirit of true love to accept Sally as she is?" "Love?" Mxss repeated in disbelief. "You think this is about love? You're gravely mistaken." His tone grew colder. "What angers me is your facade. I'm warning you. If you humiliate Sally one more time, I won't stand by." Elise smirked, stepping closer. "And what will you do?" You can't lay a finger on me." Mxss clenched his fists, his anger barely contained. "If only I could snap your neck right now." Suddenly, Elise collapsed to her knees, her face twisted in tears. Marsa rushed in to comfort her, but Mxss merely turned and walked away, his expression cold. "Cry all you like," he muttered. "I will divorce you, no matter what." "Oh, poor lady," Marsa said, trying to soothe Elise. "There's no evidence she did it. His Grace is being too harsh on you." Elise's lips curled into a bitter smile as she whispered to herself, "You will never escape me, not for the rest of your life." Sally met with Grace at a tea party. "Thank you for inviting me, Lady Grace," Sally said sincerely. "I was worried you might have been concerned because of the rumors about me." Countess Grace, poised and warm, waved off the concern with a gentle smile. "Not at all, Sally. You're my friend. I'm sure those rumors were just spread by people who are jealous of you." Sally's expression softened. "Thank you for believing in me, Countess." But even as she smiled, doubt clouded her eyes. "I knew it. There are more who believe the rumors than those who don't. How can I ever change their opinion?" Before she could fall too deeply into thought, a pair of noblewomen nearby called out to her. "Miss Sally? We'd like to talk to you for a moment. Would you join us?" Sally blinked, offering a small, curious smile. She followed them to a private room. "So, you want my advice?" she thought as they stood alone. One of the women nodded. "Yes. Amy told me about you." "And Clara mentioned you too," the other added. "She said you're a very good listener when it comes to delicate matters." Sally laughed lightly. "Ah, so there's another rumor about me? Well, I suppose this one's better than the others," she thought. She leaned in slightly. "I may not have all the answers, but I can listen anytime." The two women gazed at each other before giving a calm nod, and they all sat down for tea. The first woman looked down shyly before speaking. "My husband, he can't last long in the bedroom. It's over in seconds, and then he sulks under the covers. I can't stand it anymore." Sally considered their words, then said thoughtfully, "That's because men often think they look better the longer they last. He's embarrassed. He wants to appear strong in your eyes but feels like he's failing." The first woman winked. "He should have tried to look better for me before all this. He's trying to charm me in all the wrong ways." Sally smiled gently. "Please try to understand your husband's plight. He may feel lacking, but he likely still wants to be seen as desirable by you." The second lady rested her cheek on her palm, her gaze sad. "I don't want to spend the night with my husband. I know it's my duty as his wife, but I don't know how to turn him down." Sally tilted her head. "Have you tried being honest with him?" Her eyes widened. "How could I? I don't think I'll ever be able to say that out loud as a noblewoman." Then, Sally paused, then offered a clever smile. "Why not use a symbolic gesture to send your husband a message?" The woman leaned forward, intrigued. "How so?" "Hang a blue rose on your door when you don't want to be intimate," Sally suggested. "Add a note that says, 'I can't be with you tonight because I don't feel well.'" The women murmured in approval. That's a romantic way to go about it. But what if he still presses the matter?" Sally smirked. Then give him a good kick between the legs. It's wrong for him to force himself on you when you've already said no. The women chuckled. That's true. Later that evening, the two women chatted. That was such a valuable conversation, the First Lady said, fanning herself. She felt much better after their discussion with Sally. I think Sally's different from what the rumors say. People say she's shameless and rude, but she was so kind and polite to us. Maybe the rumors about her selling her body are false after all, the Second Lady noted. Or, maybe she knows men well because she's had many, the First Lady whispered. Perhaps, but I still want to trust her, came the reply from the Second Lady. In her room, Daisy approached Sally. Miss Sally. Sally turned. Yes? Is there another letter? The maid shook her head. No, you have a guest. Sally raised a brow. Oh? Who is it? Daisy ushered Sally's guest into her room. It's nice to meet you, Sally, the lady said, holding her hands together, looking a bit timid. It's nice to meet you, Lady Lionel, Sally said, standing to greet her guest. Marchioness Margaret Lionel stepped forward, her posture stiff but graceful. Thank you for meeting with me, even though we've never truly spoken. No, it's all right, Sally replied kindly. Of course I'll see you, especially since you've asked so politely for a meeting. She offered her a seat. I've prepared black tea. I hope it suits your tastes. Sally poured tea for them both. As Lady Lionel sat, she took in Sally's calm composure and beauty. She's so beautiful, the Marchioness thought, suddenly feeling more self-conscious. Sally folded her hands. All right then. May I know why you wanted to meet with me? The Marchioness hesitated, then began. Oh, I'm sure you already know about me. Marchioness Margaret Lionel, wife of Marquis Lionel, an infamous womanizer. I'm called Lady Ugly for my average looks and timid personality, and because I don't have my husband's love. She looked down. It's been 3 years since we wed. I don't care who the Marquis spends his nights with, since I'm used to it now. I'm his wife in name only. Sally's expression softened. Excuse me for asking this, but, my lady, do you still love your husband? The Marchioness looked away, tears brimming. As she remembered the feelings when she watched her husband flirt with other women, avoiding her. Please, look at me. Please, turn around and look at me. I'm right here. She clenched her dress. I'm sorry for burdening you with this on our first meeting, but I took my chance because I heard so many ladies fared better with your help. Can you help me too? Sally frowned slightly. Why does she still love him? What is it about love that makes a person so foolish? But she nodded. All right. I'll help you, Lady Lionel. But I have a condition. Later that day, Duke Esteban reviewed a contract with a client. The nobleman bowed after signing. Ha ha. Thank you for your help in drawing up the contract, Your Grace. I won't forget it. Oh, and I had something to discuss with you, the nobleman said, smiling as he held the contract. There's no need for thanks. This is just business, Mxss replied coolly. No, it's not that. I just wanted to let you know I've been getting along better with my wife, thanks to Miss Sally's help. Please send her my regards. As the man left, the Duke looked dumbfounded. I didn't expect to hear Sally's name here. As he left his office, he glanced at the maids who worked in silence. Now that I think about it, things have really changed. The servants who used to whisper when he visited Sally no longer batted an eye. Even Evan, who usually reported the most important schedule item of the day first, now begins with news about Sally, he thought. Most importantly of all, I've changed. And now, here I am again out of habit, Mxss thought as he stepped into Sally's room. He froze when he saw her standing in a graceful dress. Oh, you're here, she said, turning toward him. I haven't seen that dress before, Mxss noted, trying to sound casual. It's a dress from the kingdom of Anti. It was beautiful and elegant without any embellishments, so I bought it. I see. He felt the heat rising in his chest. Why do I always get hot whenever I come here? I can't get used to it. Like I did with her other dresses, he thought as they sat down. Sally studied him. Is there something you need to tell me? I heard Lady Lionel visited today. Did something happen? He asked. Sally nodded. It was about regaining her womanizing husband's love. She asked me for help, so I agreed. The problem is, This is Marquis Lionel we're talking about. I doubt he'll care much about any mild change. He has so many women in his arms at all times. That makes sense. Even I know about his lecherous lifestyle, Mxss said, his arms folded. Sally's face brightened. So I wanted to ask you, when do you find a woman attractive? Mxss blinked. Do you really think I'll have a useful answer? He asked. I thought so. Why else would I ask? She said, turning her gaze away. When am I attracted to a woman? Mxss thought. He suddenly froze. I feel like I was attracted to her at some point. His face turned red. Damn it. I've gone mad. What am I thinking? She's right in front of me. He cleared his throat. Unfortunately, I don't know much about this area. I should leave before I make a mistake. Sally shrugged. It's all right. I wasn't expecting much from you. As the Duke turned, feeling the walls closing in around him, Sally's eyes lingered on him thoughtfully. Womanizer. Distancing. He's the complete opposite of Marquis Lionel. She paused mid-thought. Wait a second. Your Grace, she called, causing him to halt. He turned his gaze to her. This dress, what do you think of it? She asked. If I can come up with a way to melt the coldest ice, even the world's greatest womanizer should fall for it, Sally thought. Unable to control himself, Mxss quickly held her, pinning her against a shelf. Sally, what do you want me to say? He asked softly. What are you? I just wanted to ask your opinion about this dress since Lady Lionel will be wearing something similar, she replied, her expression tense. My opinion is that it's sensual, he admitted, their faces flushed. So much so, that I want to kiss you.
Sally stood frozen, breath catching as Duke Esteban leaned in, his eyes locked on hers. It's sensual, he murmured. So much so, that I want to kiss you. Her heart skipped. What? She thought, startled. He's not really going to kiss me, is he? Her cheeks warmed, but before she could process the moment, he pulled back slightly. Yes. Your dress. That's how enticing it is. Relief mixed with confusion. Right. The dress, it's just the dress. She told herself not to read too much into it. She knew better. He wasn't the type. And yet, his gaze lingered longer than usual. It seems I wasn't much help again, Duke Esteban said as he turned to leave. No, you helped, Sally replied. He paused, glancing back. She smiled. You helped immensely. Later that day, Sally took Margaret to a boutique filled with elegant designs. Miss Sally, what is all this? Margaret asked, uneasy as she stared at the rows of dresses. These are all yours to try on, Sally said with a warm smile. Each one was selected just for you. The boutique staff bowed politely. Thank you for visiting, Lady. We'll provide the best service possible. Margaret blinked, overwhelmed. I'm meant to wear these. Before she could protest further, Sally clapped her hands. Our goal is to make you irresistible. Irresistible enough that Marquis Lionel will take notice. So, let's begin. First, let's remove your makeup. Margaret hesitated, fingers brushing her cheek. But, these styles suit you, Sally. You're tall, elegant, confident. I don't have your presence. Sally shook her head gently. That's not true. Your features are delicate and striking. Trust me, nobles value uniqueness, and you have it. You agreed to do everything I say, didn't you? Margaret recalled Sally's words from days ago. I'll help you win Lionel over, but you must trust me completely. She nodded slowly. Yes. I remember. Good. Then let's get started. As the boutique staff worked, Sally watched closely. Margaret had removed her makeup, her natural features now visible under the soft lighting. You have beautiful skin, Sally remarked. And your eyes, they are quite rare. With the right makeup and dress, you'll see a version of yourself you've never imagined. Margaret remained quiet, watching Sally browse through dresses with the salesman. She's putting in so much effort for me, Margaret thought. All right. I'll trust her. That evening, Duke Lionel was in a secluded part of the city with a noblewoman. Leaving so soon? She asked, resting her hand on his sleeve. There's work to be done, he replied. We'll meet again soon. He kissed her hand lightly, though his expression had already grown disinterested. I was going to see her one last time, but I'm already bored. It's over. Back at his estate, the butler greeted him at the door. Welcome home, My lord. I'm more tired than usual, Lionel muttered. It was a complicated matter. As he entered, he frowned. Where's Margaret? She usually greets me. It unsettled him more than he expected. Is she ill? I've heard nothing of the sort, the butler replied. His concern growing, Lionel headed to Margaret's room and knocked. Margaret, it's me. Are you well? Her voice was calm from behind the door. I'm not ill. Why do you ask? Then, may I come in? You may. He entered, and froze. Margaret stood at her vanity, elegant in a form-fitting dress, her makeup enhancing her delicate features, her hair styled neatly. She turned to him with a soft smile. I hope your trip wasn't too tiring. Lionel stared. You seem very different. I made a few changes, she said as she rose. What do you think? He looked her over slowly. You're very beautiful. More than I've ever seen. Margaret's smile held steady. I think so too. Something shifted in his eyes. Admiration, perhaps even longing. He stepped forward and took her hand, pressing a kiss to it. Margaret, after 3 years of marriage, I didn't think I'd feel this way. But now. She gently pulled her hand away. Do you remember what you said before we were married? Lionel blinked. What? You said we were marrying to fulfill our roles. That we'd respect each other, but not interfere. You said you wouldn't be a loyal man. His expression darkened as she stepped back. I've decided to live the same way, she said quietly. I'll take a lover of my own. His eyes widened. What are you saying? I'm simply following the rules you set. The next morning, gossip buzzed through the Esteban manor. Did you hear? One maid whispered. Lady Camora is hosting a fashion show. Where'd you hear that? Her companion asked. My cousin works in her household. It's true. I hope Miss Sally wears one of her dresses again, another maid said, face lighting up. But the chatter halted as someone approached the entrance. Isn't that Lady Camora? A maid whispered, peeking behind the flower bushes. Lady Camora approached gracefully, greeted by Evan at the door. Welcome, Lady Camora, he said. It's been a while. You're as handsome as ever, Evan, she replied warmly. The maids continued whispering. Why is she here? Maybe to deliver a dress to Miss Sally. I hope she invites Sally to the show. Daisy added, cheeks flushed with excitement. Inside the drawing room, Lady Camora sat across from Duke Esteban. It's been a while, Your Grace, she said. You summoned me again. But where's Sally? I thought this was about her. There's no need. I called you to pay for your services, Esteban replied calmly. She raised a brow. Oh? For the dress? I received your note, but no amount was listed. He recalled their earlier exchange. A rush order? That's not how I work. This will cost you dearly, she'd said. Name your price, he had replied. Well, Esteban said. What's your price? There's nothing in this empire the Esteban family can't afford. Lady Camora leaned back with a sly smile. Oh, I'm not asking for money. He narrowed his eyes. Then what? Her eyes sparkled with amusement. I want you, Your Grace, to model my clothes. Esteban stared, taken aback. What? Lady Camora placed a document on the Duke's desk. I'm organizing a fashion show for my winter collection. It includes a new line of men's clothing, and I want you to model it, Your Grace. The Duke didn't hesitate. I decline. Camora's eyes widened. What? Wait, it's just a brief appearance. You won't even be the main model. Esteban raised a brow, already turning away. You expect me to be a supporting act? Yes, she replied without flinching. He scoffed. I'm not interested. Camora's voice sharpened. Are you going back on your word, Your Grace? But Esteban remained indifferent. I'll pay for the dress at 100 times the usual price, he said, rising. Camora folded her arms. I'm not interested in the money. If you think I'm being unreasonable, feel free to take legal action, she replied coolly. She had expected resistance, but his stubbornness was worse than anticipated. Still, she had one more card to play. The main model is going to be Sally. Esteban stopped in his tracks. What? Camora smiled slightly. Got him. She hasn't mentioned this, he said, frowning. I haven't asked her yet. But she'll agree. It's her chance to wear my dresses freely. Esteban imagined Sally's delighted expression, spinning in one of Camora's designs. A rare sight, one he didn't want to miss. Camora watched him closely. She's not lying, he muttered. Then she added, if you say no, I'll find another model, handsome, elegant, and he'll be spending a lot of time near Sally. You're fine with that? Esteban's jaw tightened. You don't know me well, he said. I don't act on emotion. But, this is an acceptable cost. He returned to his desk and signed the agreement. Camora beamed. Wonderful. But only if Sally agrees, Esteban added. Camora blinked. What? Esteban stepped forward. Don't tell her about this arrangement. I don't want her accepting out of obligation. If she says no, that's the end of it. That's a lot to ask. Esteban cut her off. Given how one-sided your request is, I'd say it's fair. Camora paused, then forced a smile. All right. I accept. She won't refuse. They are my dresses. And I'm Camora. At a lively social gathering, a group of noble women whispered near the dance floor. Did you hear about Marquis Lionel? One said. They say he's been chasing after his wife lately. Another gasped. Really? Look, there he is. Across the room, Margaret Lionel danced gracefully with another gentleman. The Marquis stormed toward her, visibly upset. Margaret, what are you doing? She turned calmly. What's the matter? We're free to dance with whomever we like. But still, the Duke. He shot a glare at her dance partner. May I speak with my wife? I can't let her fall for someone else, he thought. Excuse me, the gentleman said, stepping away. Stop following me, Margaret said, brushing past her husband. Margaret, the Marquis began, tense. She turned back. I'll be angry if you keep this up. Nearby, the women watched with interest. Lady Lionel, what happened between you two? Someone asked. Margaret smiled faintly. It's simple. My husband can't handle how well I've changed. How did you manage that? To be honest, Miss Sally helped me. Sally? The Duke's mistress. Yes. A few women exchanged looks. One admitted quietly, she helped me, too. You as well? I've received her advice as well. Me too. They fell silent, surprised. She never spoke of any of us, Margaret thought. I used to think she was unrefined, one said, but clearly, that wasn't true. Exactly, Clara added softly. The others turned to her. Clara, you've changed too. You look healthier, Margaret noted. Clara blushed. Do I? Your skin's glowing, another woman added. What's your secret? Clara hesitated. The memory of the previous night with her husband flashed in her mind, and her cheeks turned red. Oh my. Clara, are you feeling unwell? Your ears are bright red. What? Well, she stammered as her thoughts raced. You're trembling, someone exclaimed. I felt faint this morning, Clara said quickly. I think I should head home. My apologies. Take care, Margaret said kindly. As she stepped outside, Clara exhaled slowly. Why did I remember that now? At the carriage, her coachman greeted her. My lady, leaving early? Yes, she said. Before we go, send a message to my husband. Tell him to come home as soon as he can. In her garden, Elise admired a particularly vibrant bloom. This one bloomed beautifully, she said softly, her eyes tracing the delicate petals. But her moment of calm ended when she noticed Evan and Lady Camora speaking by the castle entrance. If you could wait in the reception room, Evan began. Camora raised an eyebrow, folding her arms with a slight smirk. I don't have time for that. Tell me where she is right now, she insisted. The Duchess approached them, her tone warm but formal. Camora, it's been a while. Are you here to see me? Camora smiled politely. Oh, Duchess Esteban. Yes, I came to see Sally, but apparently she's not here. Evan won't say where she is. Do you know? The Duchess smiled knowingly and looked at Evan. So, you're here for Sally. Evan, why make Camora wait? If you know where she is, tell her. Evan flushed and nodded quickly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But the Duchess cut in, teasing. Camora, why don't you visit me more often? Were you waiting for a visit from me? I thought you disliked my dresses since you refused the one I made last time. Gamora raised an eyebrow. That dress, I had a strong vision when I made it, dark but alluring. I stayed up making it, hoping to see you wear it one day, Your Grace. Mxss scoffed nearby. What are you talking about? It was just a black dress, the kind you wear to funerals. How could she ask that? The Duchess silenced Mxss with a look. Mxss, watch your words. Then she turned back to Evan. Evan, take Gamora to Sally. Now. Gamora smirked triumphantly. See, Evan? Stop making excuses. Let me see Sally. Elise chuckled. She just has to get the last word. Then her expression grew serious. Mxss, find out why Gamora is meeting with Sally. I want every detail, she said softly. At a cafe, Lady Margaret and Amy sipped tea. Really? You still haven't spent a night with the Marquis? Amy asked, wide-eyed. No. Not since I changed my style, Margaret replied, a faint blush on her cheeks. Amy leaned in, whispering. But I heard Marquis Lionel has incredible stamina. He even cut off all contact with other women. Sally interrupted, amused. Marquis Lionel must be suffering. But you mustn't waver. You only get what you want after a long wait, Lady Margaret, Sally said cheerfully. Amy added with a grin. The Marquis deserves it. Think of all the times he made you suffer. Now's your chance to put him in his place. Just then, the cafe door opened, and Gamora entered confidently. Good afternoon, everyone, she called out. Surprised, they all looked up. Oh, it's Gamora. What is she doing here? Sally sipped her tea calmly as Gamora approached. Sally, I visited your mansion twice but couldn't meet you. I ran here as soon as Evan told me where you were, Gamora said brightly. Whispers spread. Gamora looking for Duke Esteban's mistress? Interesting. Sally stayed polite. This is sudden. I have an appointment with these ladies. Margaret and Amy nodded. I'm fine, Miss Sally. Me too. Gamora smiled wider. Then all three of you should come to my atelier. Curious, they followed her. Only a few have been to Lady Gamora's atelier, Amy whispered as they entered the elegant showroom. Gamora led them through the room, where luxurious fabrics and intricate designs were on display. Oh, did you make this ribbon yourself? How lovely, she said, admiring Amy's accessory. Amy smiled shyly, proud nonetheless. The dresses from Auntie suit you well, Margaret. You look wonderful, Gamora complimented. Margaret blushed, smiling. And perfect. Bravo! Gamora exclaimed, clapping as Sally examined the garments. Still puzzled by the visit, Sally finally asked. Lady Gamora, why were you looking for me? Gamora brightened. I'm thrilled. Sally, would you be my model? Sally blinked. For what? Gamora's enthusiasm was clear. I'm planning a show for my winter line. Mannequins can't do justice, so I want you to model the dresses. I've already chosen the male model, His Grace, Duke Cassius Esteban. Margaret and Amy exchanged stunned looks. Sally remained composed but thought, I hadn't heard about this. Gamora continued excitedly. Imagine, His Grace in a vest and tailcoat of my design, you in my newest dresses. People will see how a dress truly shines when worn by its owner. I've already made 3 dresses inspired by this vision. Amy and Margaret gasped. 3? I heard making even one dress takes a lot of effort. Gamora smiled confidently. So, Sally, isn't this a great opportunity? Will you join me? Sally hesitated, weighing the offer. Being Gamora's model would bring influence, maybe help expose Elise's true nature. But this isn't a decision to make lightly. Please give me some time, she said. Gamora pouted playfully. What's there to think about? Are my dresses not enough? She dropped to the floor, feigning distress. But my designs won't look right on anyone else. Should I just hide with these dresses? Sally's friends whispered among themselves. Being Lady Gamora's model, that's something everyone would want, Amy said softly. I'm not sure I want to talk to His Grace about it, Sally admitted. Gamora sighed, patient but slightly frustrated. All right. I suppose I don't have a choice. Then she brightened. If you become my model, I'll gift each of you a dress. Margaret and Amy gasped in surprise. Really? But they are so precious. Gamora smiled warmly. You're Sally's friends. It's the least I can do. Finally, she turned to Sally. So, what do you say? Amy and Margaret looked at Sally hopefully. Sally folded her hands, considering. That night, Duke Esteban soaked in his bathtub, calm. He stared at the ceiling, pondering. Will Sally agree to be a model? I'd prefer she didn't. Then her smile flashed in his mind. No, it's not a bad offer. The show might be useful, he thought. The next morning, Duke Esteban entered Sally's room quietly. She was lying face down, back bare, receiving a massage. He froze for a moment. I should have knocked, he thought, caught off guard. Your Grace, it's a pleasure to, the masseuse began, but Esteban raised a finger to his lips, signaling her to stay silent. He stepped closer to Sally's side, watching quietly. His eyes narrowed slightly. She looked relaxed. I almost disturbed her for nothing. Did Camorra send the masseuse? Please let me know if anything feels uncomfortable, the masseuse said softly to Sally. She asked me to take care of you until the show ends, the masseuse added as the Duke sat down nearby, observing. Sally responded calmly, thank you. Then she turned her head and noticed Esteban. When did you get here? She asked. Just now. You looked like you were resting, so I didn't want to interrupt, he replied. I see you accepted her request, he said. Sally hesitated briefly before nodding. Yes. I didn't want to say no, she was holding the minds of two very determined ladies hostage. Esteban raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Camorra must have pressured her somehow, he thought. I'll have to look into that. But there's another reason, Sally said with a small smile, almost sitting up. It's something I'll be doing with you. What? Esteban's heart quickened. Miss Sally, please turn over, the masseuse said gently, and Sally complied. I've made many new friends lately. Being known as Duke Esteban's companion and Camorra's model could open doors in high society. Did that influence your decision? The masseuse asked, continuing to work on Sally's tense muscles. Your muscles are tight here. I'll help you relax, she said softly. Sally sighed in relief. Thank you. She's right, Esteban thought. This is an opportunity to strengthen Elsie's position. Not the time to worry about how Sally looks in Camorra's dresses. Still, his mind wandered. She's lying there so vulnerable, right in front of me. It feels like she's ignoring me, as if I'm some powerless man who's never touched a woman. Just lie still for 5 minutes, the masseuse said kindly. Your Grace, would you like a massage? She's very skilled, Sally offered, glancing at him. Esteban carefully adjusted the cloth covering her back. I don't let anyone touch my body, except you, he said quietly. The masseuse covered her mouth in surprise, tension visible on her face. Sally's heart sped up. Why is he acting like this all of a sudden? Is it because of her? She wondered. The man before her didn't feel like the Duke she once knew. Later, in the bustling atelier, chatter filled the room as Sally and Esteban arrived. Welcome, Sally. Welcome, Your Grace Esteban. Lady Camorra greeted them warmly. A beautiful couple in my atelier, she said softly. Can we get started? Esteban asked briskly. Oh, right. Not the time. I'll take your measurements first, Camorra said, quickly pulling some fabric. Please change into these outfits in your rooms. The fabric is thin, so be careful, she added, handing them each a dress. As Esteban changed, a loud scream came from Sally's room. Did something happen? He thought, rushing out. He found Lady Camorra holding Sally steady, helping her into the dress. Oh my, your chest looks bigger, Camorra exclaimed. Sally tensed. Camorra? How could your chest grow while your hips stayed the same? Did His Grace Esteban pay special attention to your chest every night? Camorra teased uncertainly. No, I think it's from the masseuse you sent me, Sally replied. I've had massages for years with no effect. Maybe some are just born for it. Camorra joked. Why is she so forward? Esteban thought, rubbing his temple. After measuring, Camorra sat down to sketch. Oh, yes. Like this, she murmured, absorbed in her work. Artists are amazing, Sally whispered, watching. What's so amazing? Esteban asked, his eyes drifting toward Sally's chest. Where am I looking? The way she loves her work. That's what I envy, Sally said. She's so invested. Doesn't she look happy? Honestly, I find her frankness a bit much. All you need is duty and responsibility. I don't see why anyone has to love their work, he said. Sally looked at him uncertainly. This is how he always is, wealthy and powerful, but never truly happy. Everything is a burden he bears. Maybe that's why I held on so tightly. I wanted to be someone he could lean on. Her mind flashed back to her previous life, how she told him every day, "I love you." Yet no matter how much she tried, he never fully looked at her. He never truly noticed me. His coldness hadn't changed. Though lately, he showed unexpected sides, probably only because of the divorce with Elise. But that's not my concern anymore. My role ended the moment they divorced, she thought quietly. Lady Camora began coaching Sally as she practiced her modeling. Good. Walk gently, Lady Camora instructed, clapping her hands softly, like a maiden greeting the spring breeze. Don't look at the floor, raise your chin. Be confident. Sally did her best to match the poised walk Lady Camora wanted, her steps becoming smoother with each round. You have a turn here, Lady Camora said, her smile growing. You need to twirl your skirt gracefully. And now, wonderful. You understand exactly what I mean, Sally. Sally smiled modestly, a slight flush on her cheeks. It's thanks to your guidance. Lady Camora leaned closer, her voice quieter, curious. Is His Grace Esteban busy these days? Sally nodded. Yes. He left early yesterday and returned late. He might not make it today. Well, Lady Camora replied softly, His Grace is known to be dedicated to his work. I'm grateful he's come to some practices, even briefly. Sally started to respond. He doesn't really need to attend since his, but was interrupted by a calm, low voice. I don't need to attend what? They both turned, surprised, to see Duke Esteban entering the room, arms folded. Your Grace, Lady Camora said, startled. Esteban's expression was steady but firm. The Esteban name is involved. I can't treat this lightly. Let's finish the session, he said gently. Shouldn't you join me up here? What if you make a mistake on stage because you skipped practice? Sally asked softly, a small smile playing on her lips. I'm tired. Let's finish quickly, the Duke replied tersely. Why come at all if he's this tired? Lady Camora wondered, noticing his cold stare, though Sally didn't seem to notice. They watched the session quietly. One afternoon during tea, Lady Grace held up an invitation. Look at this, she said brightly. It's from Lady Camora. Gasps filled the hall. Oh my, isn't that an invitation to her show? One woman asked. I heard she's introducing a new dress line, another added eagerly. Lady Grace handled the envelope with care. May I? A noblewoman asked. Of course, but be careful, Grace replied. I'm so jealous, one whispered. I hear this show is by invitation only. Yes, many want to attend. She must have sent all the invitations, said another. Oh, I really wanted to go, a lady sighed from the back. There's going to be a real model this time, someone said quietly. A real model? Voices rose in excitement. I heard she's a beautiful woman from overseas. No, she's from here, another corrected. But a commoner. Lady Camora found her on the street and invited her to model. Whoever she is, someone said, she must be beautiful, chosen by Lady Camora herself. Sally listened quietly, swirling her tea. People are more interested than I thought. I need to work harder. Training resumed. Lady Camora clapped. Good. Your walk is perfect. Now let's practice the finale. The last dress represents a woman's seduction. The couple exchanged uncertain looks. Lady Camora turned to Esteban. Please, sit there, Your Grace. He did, stiffly. Like this? Lady Camora frowned. Too stiff. Sit as you normally do. How do you mean? Esteban asked. Well, she said, you always sit arrogantly. He paused, then relaxed naturally into the chair. That's it. Perfect. Lady Camora cheered. She faced Sally. Now, walk to His Grace and seduce the arrogant man. Sally blinked. Seduce Duke Esteban? Of all people. She steadied her breath. It's just acting. Like when I danced. She touched his shoulder gently, their eyes meeting. But his gaze held steady, and her steps faltered. Maybe I shouldn't have come today. This is frustrating, he thought. Lady Camora's voice broke through. Enough. Too superficial. Your smile lacks honesty. Again. She didn't stop. Again. More feeling. Finally, Sally paused. I need fresh air, she said. Lady Camorra sighed. All right. Break time. Betty, get us some coffee. Esteban approached Lady Camorra, serious. You said you want a smile that seduces men. That smile was seductive enough, wasn't it? Lady Camorra raised an eyebrow. I can't believe you said that with a straight face. What a man. He didn't react. You just proved it didn't seduce you, she said flatly. I want a smile full of emotion, a seduction that wants not only the body but the man's heart and soul. Her eyes sparkled with challenge. Even you, Duke Esteban, wouldn't keep a straight face with a smile like that. Don't be ridiculous, he said. Impossible, even with magic. Let's call it here, Lady Camorra muttered. I don't think it'll get better. I agree. Sally, let's head back, Esteban said. You go ahead, Your Grace, Sally said. I'll practice some more. I don't want to end without progress. Esteban studied her tired eyes. She looks worn out, but that's her drive. Fine, he said. I'll send a carriage when I get back. Come when you're ready. With that, he left. Shall we finish? Sally asked Lady Camorra. Nope. Coffee first, Lady Camorra said with a smile. They sat with tea. Tired of my standards? Lady Camorra asked. No. You're amazing, Sally replied. Thank you, Lady Camorra said, thoughtful. A dress means a lot. It shows a family's wealth, and a woman's beauty. It's armor to win the man's heart. She looked at Sally. I want to see the feeling behind dressing up. A seduction that feels like a confession. She paused. Have you ever felt that, Sally? Sally looked down. I did once, but I'm afraid. Afraid those feelings will consume me again, falling in love again, she thought. Lady Camorra's gaze softened. The Sally I know is confident and fierce. What's holding you back? She leaned forward. Sally, will you hear my story?
Thank you for joining us on this incredible adventure. If you enjoyed what you watched, please consider liking, subscribing, and ringing that notification bell. Your comments mean the world to us and help us improve. The next episode promises even more excitement and unexpected twists, so stay tuned as we embark on this thrilling journey together. Keep the anticipation alive, and we'll catch you in the next episode.